Hello and welcome back to Car Design Dialogues Asia. We're very pleased to have you with us. Now, I'm delighted to introduce our next guest, a designer with a stellar track record who began his career in Europe at Mercedes-Benz and later Daimler, before returning to his native China to head up the design teams at Guangzhou Automobile Group for over a decade. For the last 5 years, he's occupied the position of VP Head of Design at GAC, and recent work includes the GS8, MPAL, Aeon S+, GAC and 146 show car. I am, of course, talking about Fan Zhang, and he's with us today. Welcome, Fan. How are you?
Hello. Hi, James. Hello, everybody.
Very nice to have you with us. I wanted to, obvious place to start is could you tell us a little bit about recent projects that you've been working on?
Yeah, well, actually, there are a lot of projects we are working on. That's kind of a reality of designers' life in China. That is, you have to deal with a lot of projects. Apparently, with GAC, actually, we are working on two brands. One is the petrol brand, the GAC Motors, and another actually is for the EV brand. We call it Ion. And we are actually designing cars for both brands for the whole product lines. And for the GAC Motors, we have like up to 12 or 13 cars. And then for Ion, we have actually right now we've already got 4 production cars on the market, and we are working on more to come in the future. Apart from that, actually, we are also working on some show cars. For example, for the upcoming Guangzhou Auto Show in November, we are preparing a show car for that. And also for next year's Beijing Auto Show in April next year, we are also kind of preparing another show car. So yeah, a lot of projects, a lot of things going on. Very
busy. Could you give us a hint about the 2 show cars? What we can expect to see? Is this going to be an evolution from previous designs? Can you give us a little teaser, Fan?
Right. For the Guangzhou Auto Show in November, we are trying to explore further how we go down the path of like using EV platform. We have tried several times before. I think probably our colleagues more or less they have some impression with some of our previous show cars like 146 and Impulse, Entrance, all those show cars. Actually, the previous show cars are all based on the EV platform. Some of them, the design cues or the design themes actually have applied to ongoing production projects already. And now we are looking at what are we going to do for next generation. Because actually the whole pace in China for car design or car like evolution is pretty quick. One form language lasts for 1 generation, and then you have to start to think what's going to come next. I think what's happened to the traditional car design industry, or for example, for the Western world, before was like one kind of a form language, one design DNA sometimes could last many decades. Yeah. Definitely more than 1 generation, but it looks like it's not going to be the case in China. I think the appreciation for certain style can be dated very quick, and then you owe customers because simply there are so many competitors. Everybody is trying to come up with something new. Therefore, for us, we have to keep thinking. So therefore, I think what you could be seeing for the Guangzhou Auto Show car might be something embedded with our ideas for what could be happening for our next generation EV cars. Yeah, so that's as much as I can give you for
No,
now.
no, that's plenty. But I suppose going back to overseeing two brands at the same time, how do you maintain a kind of distinct form languages for each brand, so they do retain that kind of individual character?
Well, to be honest, that is the challenge we are facing right now. I have been overseeing the design for GSM Motors or 20 in Chinese for last decade, 10 years already. So within last 10 years, we try to evolve the design in a more elegant while still being sporty, modern, try to capture the customer's attention of having good presence and also high quality, perceived quality. This kind of impression. But with the new arrival of EVs, actually we only start doing EV cars about like 4 years ago. Yeah. But now we are already seeing like 4 production cars in the market. It's coming really quick. And at the beginning, actually, in our design, we inevitably incorporate some of the design cues or design aesthetics from petrol cars into the EV design. In parallel, we try to think how to give the so-called the EV character or EV kind of symbols that to certain cars. Like for example, like close up the grill parts, make the sort of a faceless, and also try to make the headlamp, the rear lamp more linear, like so therefore to give up a so-called high-tech impression. But now all those tricks apparently are not enough because everybody is doing something similar. So the challenge for us is really not only try to defer 2 brands within our own family. One is for petrol, one is for EV, but also at the same time, we have to defer ourselves to all the competitors. Well, the challenge for EVs, since there are actually less element you can play with on the car, especially on the front end, actually gives much fewer opportunity to make the identity or a certain a strong image of the car. This is really like the challenge we are facing. So within our product line, we want to give the petrol cars a certain character, but when you try to defer the petrol to EVs, you cannot say, okay, petrol car is more dynamic while the EV car is not, or the EV cars is more high tech, but the petrol car is not, because at the end of the day, we are facing more or less similar group of customers. Sometimes I think, especially along with the development of the EV this industry, more and more customers are open to select EV cars for their buying. So and also the price for the EV cars dramatically dropped due to the dropping of the cost of for battery and also other things. So we are talking about the similar price range for petrol and EV. They are really competitive, and we have to defer one from the other, but we cannot say one is good or the other one is bad. They are just 2 different things. Actually, we try to assign our petrol car with certain character while giving the EV car certain character. So the point I want to make is we are not only trying to make EV car look high tech. I think this might be the first impression when you talk about the EV car compared to a petrol car. So people would think EV cars will be much cleaner, simpler, and with a very techy impression. But Actually, the fact we are facing is also we got the demand from the product planning and also the top management that our petrol car also should have the sort of EV-like, because they believe this could be the future. Yeah,
Yeah.
this could be the appreciation keep developing. Therefore, we have to make the petrol car EV-like, and then we have to make a EV more EV. So this is actually becoming the dilemma and also the challenge. Therefore, I think the best way is to assign, trying to assign different like design philosophy to different type of cars. Yeah, what is the value of the petrol car with a GSC logo, and what is the value for the EV car with a GSC logo? We have to find out and define those character, and together give our future customers choices. This kind of work we are still working on. Soon we will have result.
Fan, when you talk about design philosophy and developing a design philosophy, how do you do that within when things are moving so quickly? Because as you mentioned, sort of form language can take a long time to develop and used to hang around for a long time. And I know from your work, you've worked for those old sort of brands like Mercedes-Benz, where I imagine that was the kind of the brief that you were often working on. But philosophy is something that you have to kind of nurture and develop and water, if you like. I just wondered how you're kind of meeting those sort of challenges, the sheer speed of things.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? Well, I think we, as a young company, we do have our advantage and also disadvantage. I think talking about disadvantage, it's very obvious that we don't have that long history like other renowned brands, global brands. And of course, we also don't have that many of the talents and also know-hows which have been accumulated along the years. But compared to them, we also do have our advantage, especially when we are like dealing with the new generation of technology, the new generation of customers with their expectations, and also a lot of new expectations for new experience. So sometimes we could move in a more lightweight way to get our approaches done. So, for example, the speed, the whole speed in China is not only because we develop products in a much faster way. It's actually being driven by the demand from the market, from the expectation from the customers. Like I said, they actually would expect to see new things, new products in a much faster pace than for us being as like OEM. If you want to make the money, then you just better try to fulfill the expectation of the customers. But at the same time, we don't want to just like being followed by the market or by our competitor. We also should, from time to time, to establish some benchmark in the market. Therefore, to set up something that or to create something that could let everybody to look up to and also try to be followed by them. When I talk about the speed of development, let's say like back to 10 years ago when I just joined GSC back to China, and then GSC was in a very kind of a basic situation. The whole R&D center was only built for like 4 years. We had like 500 people in total for the whole R&D center, and as for design, there were only 20 people. But 10 years later, now we are talking about a fully equipped R&D center with over 4 or 5,000 people. And for design wise, yeah, we are operating globally with more than 350 employees working for design. So this is really a fast pace for the whole development. And also design wise, back to also to 10 years ago, when we first launched our first generation GS4 and then later the GS8, the both cars were really the kind of a blast in Chinese market before its new design, for the originality of the design and also the overall very kind of a well balanced and also has a lot of impact for because of its styling, and then therefore represent a very good kind of like a value or attraction to our customers. And those two products suddenly become very popular and the sales were great. Of course, we made a lot of money for the company. And also our competitors saw that. Later, actually, I got a compliment from colleagues in other company, and some say because we did such successful projects with the GS4 and the GS8, this actually helped to raise up their salary in other companies because other companies, they all saw actually design could work, design could sell the car. Actually, then made them put a quite high awareness of the design's ability. Therefore, they spend more money, more resources on building up a design team. Of course, then their salary level get raised up. The whole industry become very competitive eventually. So yeah.
On that idea of competitiveness, we spoke in the past about various shows, but the Shanghai Auto Show you described to me as a kind of almost a display of anxiety by OEMs. There were so many things going on there. Could you explain a little bit more about what you were getting at?
Right. Yeah, the anxiety. I think that's a word that we are carrying for a long time. I think the anxiety comes from many ways. The first of all, for example, it's something related with the speed. Yeah, like the speed for development, the speed of the evolvement of the market, and also the speed your competitors came up with their next generation products, which are quite a thrill to your current product. So you are like in a race, and you have to run really fast, and then it's really hard sometimes to keep up your breath. So this gives you a certain anxiety, and at the same time, while you are running really fast, and also at the Shanghai Auto Show particularly, when you see how many new cars have been displayed at the show, and you will realize how competitive the whole market will be. And then those show cars are coming from all sorts of companies, the traditional OEMs, the new startups, the latest startups, including actually startups. There are different generations already. There are some old generation like Neo or Xiaopeng or Li Auto, and then there are also having some latest startup which backed up by some huge companies from other industry, for example, like Xiaomi or Baidu, or even other electronic companies. So this market becomes so crowded and so competitive. And from another perspective, when you look at those um, new products or show cars, a lot of design approaches are taken different company, but they are kind of running towards the same destination. This actually, for me, being as a designer, I also feel this could be an anxiety, because being a designer, your nature is to create something different. I'm sure that's the same for every designers working in this industry. But when you see actually what I just work out is actually the same as other companies' results, like how could that be? But I think in the times like now, when everybody's looking at similar kind of websites, and you get the news informations from like a website, everybody actually get the same sort of information. More or less, you get this kind of educated towards certain direction, that this could be the cool one, this could be the good one, even though you didn't see what other companies really developing. But in the end, when you kind of uncovered the latest release, and then suddenly you found everybody's running towards the same direction. So this is also part of anxiety, I could tell. Yeah, it's quite a lot of pressure if you are in this industry, but I would say it's not all negative. Yeah, even though you are facing so much competition, so much pressure, but it's fun. Yeah, it's like playing a game. Like you have to beat your competitor, your opponents. Like, damn, why they come up with this? Why can't I come up with something even better and even quicker? And I should be the one to set up the next trend. So it's almost like that. So
Right.
yes, it could be fun.
Oh, that's quite refreshing to hear, actually, Fan, that it could be fun. I wanted, given that idea about competitiveness and trying to be set the bar high and lead the way. Are you seeing that the speed for the desire for new ideas and the speed of development, is that influencing European and Western markets? Do you think is the exchange of ideas going that way at the moment?
I think it will be, but I cannot tell exactly, because to be honest, I'm not looking so closely at what's going on in European or American markets anymore. It's my bad, but I think my attention now is fully occupied by what's going on within Chinese market, and I think what's going on in China actually has a lot more interesting stuff than that in Europe or in America, because of this kind of a chaotic situation, and there are so many newcomers, and then so many new ideas, so many new technologies. And also, especially those newcomers, they are no shy of applying new technologies, new experience, and also they come up with their products in a very quick time. So when we are talking about some ideas in mind, but actually in China, you can see them in very short time. You can see them in products being loaded already. For example, what I remember was last year, like when I worked with our UI UX group, like we were talking about some of our applications, like how we could make a car to serve people better, how we could make a car to feel like more smart. Like we are still trying to come up with some of the ideas. But then suddenly we saw the new launch from another OEM with their latest product. Some of the ideas we are talking about, they've already applied on the car, and it's a production car. And I thought, damn, like how could they be so fast? And then we have to be like catching up with them also. So then we try to find out who is their supplier and then what they have done, and then we have to, based on what they have done, we have to do something even better. So this is like a kind of a competition that always keep elevate the level of the design competition, and the results you just see the new things. And for example, nowadays we are talking about from the exterior wise, we see this sort of a borderless grill or parametric application of the grill, and how to make the car more EV-like with its spatial proportion, form language, and especially the facial, how to make the car instantly will be look like an EV. I think there are a lot of very good examples in Chinese market. Well, to be honest, apart from Tesla, you don't see actually that many good examples in European or American market. Even Tesla now, since everybody have studied Tesla and then try to come up with a better solution than that, I think that or also could be looked at like as a dated solution. And also I talked about the application of the new technology. Then now there are a lot of application for autonomous driving or semi-autonomous driving, L2 plus, L3. And when you apply those kind of technology, for the interior design, a lot of things have changed. And for the exterior, of course, you had more sensors, cameras, and eventually those become a design element. We even try to celebrate those elements or those accessories in design. And for the interior of the cars, since we put a big display inside the interior, now we are talking about 14.6 or even 15.6 inch size of a display. It's really become like a central monitor or even like a TV in a kind of a enclosed space. And while you're parked the car, you could really watch videos, clips on the internet, and you can lie down the seats and really just lying down as a bed to watch movies, play games. Those features actually we have tried many years with our concept cars, and now like bit by bit you see them have been realized in the production cars already. So yeah, with all those, that's why I say now Chinese market is much more interesting. And with some of those design trend or applications, I'm sure those will influence our colleagues in Europe or America sooner or later.
Final question, Fan. There's so much change in the industry. You've outlined some of the things there. We're talking about EVs, autonomous vehicles. I just wondered how a designer stays relevant in this ever-changing landscape.
Yeah, it's a very good question. I ask myself from time to time, like when autonomous driving is really in action in a very practical situation, what's we gonna do as a designers? I'm sure there's no real need to sculpture the exterior, how sexy it could be, like now or mostly previously when you're talking about the exotic kind of the beauty of the cars. And it's also going to be hard to judge the proportion because at the end of the day we only talk about the boxes. The boxes could hold people inside and put on the wheels. It's just like this smartphone, like when we flick back before first iPhone launched, actually the design for Nokia's or Ericsson's or Sony's, they were quite diverse, and then some of them are really good looking and classic designs. But now they are all take over by this kind of black box. Yeah.
True.
I think eventually this will be happening for car designers, but I don't think we're gonna lose our job because um, I think car designer is relevant because car designers study relationship between human and the machine and then try to provide good solution to bond those two parts together in a more beautiful way, let's say. Yeah. So we are not only talking about the form, we are also talking about relationship and also the, like we say, experience or interaction. So that's why from time to time, I told my designers, young designers, you should not always prepare to be a form designer, but for the future, you also have to prepare yourself to be a experienced designer, and the form is part of the experience. Aesthetics in form is one kind of experience people could get, but other things like how they get into the car, how they can enjoy the surroundings, how the even the sound effect, and lighting, ambient lighting, and materials they are touching, all sorts of things. They are all relevant to designer's job. I think if we want to stay the old way, definitely we have the danger of losing job or losing most part of our job. But if we adapt ourselves to the development of the technology, I think we do have our chance, and actually, I think we do have our advantage of doing that. So it's just a matter how quick you can adapt yourself to it.
Wonderful. Okay, thanks very much, Fan. I could talk to you all day about this kind of thing, but I think we've run out of time. I'm just on behalf of Car Design News, very, very pleased to have you with us. And hopefully we can do this again at a later date. But for now, let's say cheerio.
Pininfarina has been designing the future for 90 years. The future of people, their dreams and desires. Design drives imagination beyond limits and technique. Design enables us to create emotions, meaning, and impact. Enriching and enchanting how people move, play, learn, and connect. We combine an innate Italian sense of beauty, balancing it with technological and business innovation, but also ethics. Design is more than an approach or a set of skills and tools. It is a mindset to interpret the world and to decide how to behave collectively to craft material and immaterial experiences, now and into the future. A future that we at Pininfarina will continue to imagine, design and build.